Set 2 will be played on Newkirk Redevelopment Precinct. Sponsored by Photo Punch and SK Planet. Spawning in the bottom right-hand position as the blue Protoss from Evil Genius's team Liquid. His name is Hero.
His opponent, the god himself from KT Roaster. His name is Flash, spawning as Red Terran on the bottom left position of the map.
Yeah, he is our StarCraft god. All StarCraft players believe in him, by the way. Just the way things go. Flash is a Buddhist, though.
Unfortunate for all the god believers out there. He is a Buddhist himself. And this guy, he is part of Taiping Nissan, has been so since the Brood War days when people were trying to consider Flash as one of the next Bonjas. Yeah. But they put him in a different group called Taiping Nissan, which consists of Flash, Jaedong, Bisu, and Stork. Yeah, to expand a little bit upon that, Bonjour is a player that's considered to be very dominant for a long period of time in StarCraft. And it's debatable if there's been any StarCraft2 Bonjours. If there's one, people would say it's MVP. That's probably the surest bet there. But in StarCraft 1, it was Boxer, I Love Uv, another player. Nada.
Nada, yeah, that's right, Nada. And
the last one is debatable.
Last one is debatable. And then there's Flash.
I forgot there's a list for the 4 players. And here's the thing, a lot of people consider Flash as the 5th Bonja, but if you technically speaking, Bonja refers to only 4 players before the era of Taiping Nissan.
Oh, really? I
yes.
didn't know that.
So people use the term Bonja left and right. You know, they're talking about how someone's a Bonja, and people are like, no, that's not correct. Well, but it originally only refers to the 4 players instead of Flash.
I think that players he was actually better than the other players when they dominated, so they're like, we need to actually create a new tier above Bonjour for Flash, and they just called him God. And there's a lot of temples in Korea you can go to where you worship Flash. It's really cool. It's a great tourist attraction as well.
Oh yeah, definitely. You know, like 3 days, 4 nights?
Yeah.
No, 4 days, 3 nights. Trip along Korea, and look at this Hero just gonna scout around the main,
checking for the proxies.
Yeah, knowing that he cheesed his opponent last time around, so Flash might return the favor today by going for a cheese of his own.
Possible. I think that we're just gonna probably see some Hellbat drops though.
That's the norm.
It's the norm,
you know,
man.
that's the norm when it comes to Terrans playing these days in Pro League.
Yeah, it's just, well, it's been proven to have the highest success rate against other players. And Hero going to go ahead and grab an expansion here on 21 supply. We do see a command center being built from Flash as well. So far, no cheese. Looks like we're going to just go into more of a standard macro game here. Now, the advantage of Flash is that his control is phenomenal, his macro impeccable, and overall just an extremely good player. And look at this, actually grabbing a factory now behind the barracks, so he's not going to go up to 3 racks or anything like that.
I mean, 3 racks was considered the standard play, but with Hellbat's been a lot useful these days. In every single matchup, players opt to go for the factory, try to harass their opponent, while going for the expansion, possibly a 3rd command center behind this. And comparing this to Brood War, this is actually fantastic news for all Terran players in Pro League because they love to go for the vulture harassment early in the game, trying to deny the 3rd base, trying to sneak in some vultures inside the main base to pick up a lot of probes, and Hellbats do the same damage now.
I think they do better, man.
Well,
I think they do better.
A little bit better, but they're not as fast as vultures, and they don't have the free spider mines.
Yeah, I like to compare more to the Reaver of StarCraft 1. Now, the Mothership Core moving in here. Going to see the fast starport as well. And 2 Hellions on the way for Flash, so maybe he's not going to go into the Hellbat harassment just yet. Could get that later on in the game. This Mothership Core's got to be very careful here because the Marines are... Hero spots that he's going to go ahead and move back. May actually just move into the main base here and try to do a little bit of harassment at this angle here. And, ooh, unfortunately missing the Hellions there, but actually going to do a good job killing off the SCV. Going to delay this starport just slightly there. Gets a single probe kill, but he's got to bring that Mothership Core home now because Flash is on the attack, moving across the map. Couple of Hellions and a handful of Marines. A fast Warp Prism on the way, though, for Hero.
But he needs to make sure those Hellions do not get inside the main base. Those are not Hellbats. If he loses a few probes early in the game, the tide is going to go to Flash's side. So now it's up to Hero to defend against this little push from Flash.
Yeah, I am really excited to see a fast Warp Prism, though, in this match. Uh-oh, Hero out of position. Look at this, very smartly pulling his probes and even having a semi-wall off here. Wow, man. He's actually pretty prepared
nice
for this. Unfortunately, going to lose a few probes here, but overall, I have to say that it looks like he kind of was anticipating Flash to go for a move like this.
Well, he saw some of the Marines moving out, and he saw that the Mothership Core was not being sniped inside the main base with the Marines. So with the Nexus Cannon, those Marines and Hellions need to go out. And at the natural as hero, he's preparing for a Warp Prism drop, but he still needs to warp a few units back at home to defend against what Flash has.
I actually really like this because I think that the Hellbats, they may leave just as this medevac finishes here. And the timing is going to be very, very, very close between these two units here. Mothership Core has energy for another drop here, and okay, dropping a few units. He can also warp in a few units, block off the natural ramp. Flash, all of his units are actually at his opponent's natural here, and the SCV is now being forced off the mineral line. Tech Lab being destroyed on the barracks there, and the medevac bringing the Hellbats home to help defend here, and Hero can just keep reinforcing more units here. Flash at the same time is forced to go into an attack at the natural, and the probe's going to be picked off here quite easily.
And the attack inside the main base has been thwarted, and he didn't lose that many SCVs behind it. The Mothership Core even, okay, barely surviving at the end, but he does have a sentry over there. But Hero needs to start killing some SCVs because
losing
Flash
the Mothership Core
killed up to 10 probes at the natural.
And Flash destroys the pylon in the main base. Hero now is going to be on the back foot here. Does force field off the natural ramp there, but things are looking really, really bad here for Hero as he's lost a lot of workers. The worker count actually very similar here, but now starting to fall rapidly for Hero as his probes are stacked up here and down to one worker. I think Flash has secured a victory here. A quick 2-0 for Casey Rolster from the look of things. Every single probe has almost been picked off at this point using the Warp Prism to lift up a few of those, but I think it's too little too late.
That's the reason why you don't go for heavy pressure against your opponent, even harassment inside the main base, if you see the attack coming, because you need to warp in units back at home.
GG. Flash taking a solid victory in game number 2 there. I like the idea that Hero had there, but unfortunately he did not have enough defense against Flash's aggression and pressure there, and, you know, unfortunately he got beat.
So score right now 2-0 with KT Roaster taking an early lead against EGTO as they head towards set number 3 between Alive and Zest.
Yeah, I feel like we could potentially see another one-sided victory from Evil Genius's Team Liquid at this rate because, you know, Hero, one of their best players, getting taken out. I know he did lose the Flash, but still definitely a burden for EGTO. So, you know, we're going to find out what happens in the next match here. It's going to be a TVP Alive versus Zest. Don't go anywhere. We'll be back after this commercial break.